What's up, Colts fans? How you doing? It's the big dog named Austin, and we're traveling to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. They lost last week to the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil, 34-29. Jordan Love got hurt at the very end of that game. I don't quite know what it is. Something about his knee. All week long, the Green Bay Packers have been playing a little bit of gamesmanship, and they've been saying that Jordan Love is questionable. As of Saturday, he was listed as doubtful, so I don't think he'll play. Malik Willis, third-year quarterback out of Liberty University. He played 2 years previous with the Tennessee Titans. I've seen Malik Willis play a little bit. In 2022, he was... in the entire season, he was 31 of 61, 276 yards passing, 50.8% completion, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He did have 27 carries for 123 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, 3 fumbles, 2 lost. So Malik Willis is not a great quarterback. He does have a run threat to his arsenal, but he's not a great passer. I think this is going to be a big deal. The Packers are still going to be a tough team. Josh Jacobs is going to get the rock. Last week he carried the ball 16 times, had 84 yards, had a couple catches out of the backfield. Jaden Reed, he had 4 catches, 138 yards, 1 touchdown. Romeo Doubs had 4 catches for 50 yards. So the Packers have offensive weapons. It is if Malik Willis can get the ball to them, how well are they going to run the ball? I feel like the Colts are going to hone in on stopping the run. Stack the box, make Malik Willis beat you over the top. But the Colts are down a couple key guys in the secondary. Juju Brents earlier this week, he's out for the season after having knee surgery. Julian Blackmon, he is out with a shoulder injury. We also have DeForest Buckner, who is banged up from last week. He is questionable. I feel like he'll give it a go. He's a real tough guy. And Kwity Paye, he's also questionable. He's a little banged up after last week. So the Colts defense is a little banged up. This is going to be, I'm a little worried about it, just a little bit. Like, there's a little bit of doubt creeping in the back of my mind. But I am confident that we'll be well off offensively. Jonathan Taylor is coming back to Wisconsin for the first time since being drafted. You all know that he played at Wisconsin. He was a great running back at Wisconsin. He's from New Jersey, went to college at Wisconsin. He's coming back. I expect Jonathan Taylor to have a massive game, a really, really big game. He was kind of quiet last week. He didn't do much last week. But I think this week he's going to have a couple touchdowns, over 100 yards, and a couple of catches, maybe even a receiving touchdown. Jonathan Taylor is probably going to be the reason the Colts win this game. Anthony Richardson, I feel like he'll play well. He'll probably throw a pick. He'll probably turn the ball over. But last week, we all know he was 9 of 19 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did have the pick. The Packers defense didn't do too well against the running game. They did play Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, so their run game was going to be really, really good. But the Packers defense gave up 24 carries for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. I believe he had a receiving touchdown. So Saquon Barkley went off against the Green Bay Packers. They lost, like I said. Now, their home opener, they don't have Jordan Love. That's a big deal. Had he not got hurt at all, this game, especially with our injury report, Julian Blackmon and Juju Brents being out, Packers would probably win this game. I hate to admit it, but without Jordan Love, and it's looking like Malik Willis will start. As I mentioned earlier, Jordan Love is doubtful. I think the Colts will win this game. I do think the Colts will be able to force a couple of turnovers, run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson. They might have a couple of big plays. Now, you can't expect 50-plus yard plays every time the Colts touch the ball. I know that'd be great. The Colts had 3 50-yard plays last week, 50-yard plus plays last week. They had 5 all last season. They had 3 in week 1 last year. Or I'm sorry, week 1 last week. So I would love for the Colts to have multiple 50-yard plays. Maybe Jonathan Taylor busts one. But through the air, it's hard to do. But we'll see if Anthony Richardson can continue to just huck the rock way downfield, out-throw the coverage. And I bet you the Packers saw that. I bet you the Packers are going to game plan for Anthony Richardson. See what he can do when that's taken away from him. The Colts actually lead this series 24-21-1. I guess they've tied once. I don't know what that tie was. The last 3 times these two teams have gotten together, the Colts have won all 3 games in epic fashion. Okay, all 3 of these last games the Colts have played against the Packers. 2020, they went into overtime after being down double digits in that COVID year. Aaron Rodgers was at the helm. In 2016, I was actually at that game. That was the Squirrel game. I wouldn't say that game was too crazy. Luck did throw 2 early picks. It was 31-26, Colts win. And then in 2012, this was the Chuck Pagano. This was the game right after Chuck Pagano was diagnosed with leukemia. The news broke, and I mean, the Packers were a really good football team at that point. This was 2012. And the Colts, that obviously they were coming off of their 2-14 season in 2011. At that point in the regular season, I believe it was like week 5, because it was October 7th, 2012. In week 5 or so, the Colts weren't really like the team that they would have, a playoff team they would have became later on in the season. So that win was like what was the "we have arrived" win. And it was like so much emotion with the players and the coaches and the fans, the fans backing up Chuck Pagano, the coaches backing up Chuck Pagano, with Bruce Arians coming in, and with Reggie Wayne coming in wearing orange in honor of his coach that he had down in Miami University. So that game is the most memorable game, honestly, just because of that. And a very close second was that game I went to in 2016. That game was awesome. When Jordan Todman took that opening kickoff back for a touchdown, and it just, from then on, the Colts, they threw the 2 picks, but the Packers just never really seemed to, get it going. But this is a series that's recently has been dominated by the Colts. You got to go back to 2008. And only because these two teams don't play that much. Like, these teams play once every 4 years. The last time the Packers have beaten the Colts was in 2008, 34-14. That was Rodgers Manning. That was Aaron Rodgers versus Peyton Manning, and we didn't know. And Aaron Rodgers, slung the pill all over the yard, and Peyton Manning only scored 14 points. Actually threw a pick 6 in that game. But I definitely think that the Colts have a really good chance to win this game. Now, Michael Lombardi got on, and I've talked about this earlier this week. Michael Lombardi got on the Pat McAfee Show and his own podcast talking about Gus Bradley's defense just not being a good defense. Now, I hope he heard that, and I hope he's going to do some stuff to make this defense better than what it was last week. Because if not, there's a chance that because the Colts against the backup quarterbacks, they haven't fared very well. And I am a little afraid that this backup quarterback is going to come in and dot us up because of how easy our defense is. And Matt LaFleur, he's a good coach. He will give Malik Willis the best opportunity to succeed on Sunday. So this is going to be a tough game. The Colts are favored by 3 on the road. I think that's good. Another key thing that you've got to nail down, and I think this will happen with turnovers if you win the turnover battle, and if Jonathan Taylor has a good game, is dominating the time of possession. Because last week, despite scoring 27 points and despite having over 200 yards passing, you only had 20 minutes of time of possession compared to 40 minutes, which the Texans were able to dominate time of possession. If you dominate time of possession, you hang on to that ball, you don't turn the ball over, you win the turnover battle. And it's the most cliche thing in the sport. You're going to win the game. So I'm confident. I am pretty confident that the Colts win this game. I just hope that their defense can hold up against Malik Willis and the run game, potential dual threat nature of Malik Willis. But that's all I've got. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that bullshit. You know, down there. I'm a big dog named Austin. Go Colts! I scared my cat.